Ever wondered how to make the perfect cheesecake at home? You are not alone. The quest for the perfect cheesecake can seem like a daunting culinary challenge. Many home cooks share the dream of creating a cheesecake that is smooth, creamy, and just the right amount of sweet, all while avoiding the common pitfalls associated with cheesecake baking. We've all had our share of cheesecake mishaps, haven't we? Perhaps it's been a crust that just wouldn't set right, turning soggy instead of maintaining that delightful crunch, or a top that cracked, marring the otherwise perfect surface. These are the battles we face in our kitchens, armed with our spatulas and mixing bowls. But fret not, my fellow home bakers. Today, we set out on a mission to conquer these common challenges and unlock the secret to baking the perfect cheesecake. So, strap on those aprons and preheat the oven, because today, we will conquer the art of baking the perfect cheesecake. The first step towards our perfect cheesecake is gathering all our ingredients. Let's start with the crust. We'll need 1½ cups of graham cracker crumbs, 1/4 cup of granulated sugar, and 1/2 cup of unsalted butter, melted. This buttery sweet crust is the perfect base for our creamy cheesecake. Next, the star of the show, the cheesecake filling. For this, we'll need 2 pounds of cream cheese, 1¼ cups of granulated sugar, 1/2 cup of sour cream, 2 teaspoons of vanilla extract, and 3 large eggs. The cream cheese gives our cheesecake its signature taste, while the sour cream adds a subtle tanginess that balances the sweetness. The vanilla extract enhances the flavors, and the eggs bind everything together. Finally, for the topping, we'll need a cup of sour cream, 2 tablespoons of granulated sugar, and a teaspoon of vanilla extract. This topping adds a sweet and sour finish to our cheesecake. With all our ingredients ready, we are set to start baking. A cheesecake stands on its crust, so let's make a stellar one. Our crust is the foundation of our cheesecake, the stage upon which the creamy filling performs. So how do we create this vital component? It's simpler than you might think. First, we start with the basics: graham crackers. These humble biscuits, when crushed into fine crumbs, provide a texture that is both crunchy and crumbly, the perfect contrast to our smooth filling. You could use a food processor to achieve the right consistency, but a rolling pin and a little elbow grease work just as well. Once we have our crumbs, we combine them with melted butter. The butter acts like a glue, holding our crumbs together and adding a rich, savory note that balances the sweetness of the crackers. You'll want to mix these 2 ingredients until they resemble wet sand. A little odd, I know, but trust me, it's the right texture. Now comes the fun part: pressing the mixture into our pan. This step is crucial. An even, compact layer ensures our crust will hold together, supporting our filling without crumbling apart. Use the bottom of a glass or a flat measuring cup to press the crumbs firmly into the pan, paying special attention to the edges. And we can't forget about pre-baking. This is our secret to a crust with a bit of crunch. A short stint in a preheated oven, about 10 minutes, helps to set the crust and deepen its flavor. Each of these steps plays a vital role in creating a crust that is both flavorful and sturdy. Remember, the crust shouldn't be an afterthought. It's a key part of the cheesecake experience. So take your time, follow these steps, and I promise you won't be disappointed. With our crust ready and set, we can now move on to our creamy filling. And that, my friends, is where the real magic begins. But that's a story for another scene. The heart of a cheesecake is its creamy, smooth filling. Now let's dive into the making of this velvety cheesecake heart. The first step to achieving a fantastic filling is to ensure our cream cheese is at room temperature. This is crucial for a silky texture. If you use cold cream cheese, you'll end up with a lumpy filling, and nobody wants that. Next, we'll beat the cream cheese until it's as smooth as a baby's cheek. But remember, don't overdo it. Overbeating can incorporate too much air, leading to a fluffy, cake-like texture, rather than the dense creaminess we desire. Once our cream cheese is beautifully beaten, we'll gradually add granulated sugar. This sweet addition will give our filling that delightful, subtle sweetness. It's important to add the sugar gradually to avoid any graininess, ensuring a melt-in-your-mouth experience. Then, we'll introduce our eggs, one at a time. Eggs are the binding agent here, holding everything together. But they're also a bit like divas. They don't like being overworked. If you beat them too much, they can cause the cheesecake to puff up in the oven and crack. So, handle them with care. Next on the list is sour cream, adding a slight tang to balance out the sweetness. It also contributes to the creaminess of our filling. a dash of vanilla extract for that classic flavor, and a pinch of salt to enhance all the other flavors, and our filling is almost complete. Finally, we'll add a bit of flour, which acts like a security blanket for our cheesecake. It helps prevent cracks and adds a bit of structure, ensuring our cheesecake doesn't crumble under pressure. And voila, we have our smooth, creamy, perfectly sweetened cheesecake filling. It's a symphony of flavors, ready to harmonize with our previously prepared crust. Remember, patience and precision are key to achieving the perfect filling. Each ingredient plays a vital role in the grand cheesecake orchestra, and respecting each one will result in a performance that deserves a standing ovation. Our filling is ready to pour onto our crust. We are halfway through our cheesecake journey. Now comes the moment of truth, baking our cheesecake. Before we dive in, let's remember that baking a cheesecake isn't like baking a regular cake. It requires a bit of extra care and attention, but the result is worth every bit of effort. Today we're going to use a technique called a water bath, or bain-marie if you want to be fancy, and you'll see why it's so essential for our cheesecake. First, let's talk about preheating. Preheat your oven to 325 degrees Fahrenheit. The lower temperature ensures the cheesecake doesn't bake too quickly, which could lead to a cracked surface or a curdled texture. Patience is key here. Now let's prepare our water bath. The purpose of a water bath is to provide a gentle, moist environment for the cheesecake to bake in. This helps to ensure an even bake and prevents the top from drying out and cracking. To set it up, place your springform pan, wrapped in foil to prevent any water seeping in, inside a larger baking pan. Then pour hot water into the larger pan until it comes halfway up the sides of the springform pan. Next, place this entire setup gently into your preheated oven. Be careful not to splash any water. The steam generated from the water bath will allow the cheesecake to bake evenly, ensuring a smooth, creamy texture all the way through. The cheesecake needs to bake for about 1 hour, but remember, every oven is different. The edges should be set, but the center should still be slightly jiggly. That's when you know it's done. Turn off the oven, but leave the cheesecake inside with the door slightly ajar for another hour. This allows the cheesecake to cool slowly, which helps prevent cracks from forming. Our cheesecake is now in the oven, transforming into a creamy delight. It's a labor of love, but the wait will be worth it. The aroma filling your kitchen is just a teaser of the deliciousness to come. Scene script. Patience is a virtue, especially when it comes to cheesecakes. Now I know we've all been there. The tempting aroma wafts from our kitchen, beckoning us to dive in before it's time. But remember, the final crucial step in our cheesecake journey is the cooling process. This is not to be rushed. Why, you ask? Well, cooling allows the cheesecake to set properly, firming up the filling and ensuring the crust doesn't crumble during slicing. It also helps in enhancing the flavor of the cheesecake, giving you that rich, creamy taste we all love. After you've taken your cheesecake out of the oven, let it cool in the baking pan for about an hour. The residual heat continues to cook the cheesecake, giving it the perfect texture. After that, transfer it to the refrigerator for at least 4 to 6 hours, or better yet, overnight. This chilling process allows the cheesecake to develop a dense, firm structure and a smooth, velvety texture. When it's time to serve your masterpiece, it's all about the presentation. Use a hot, sharp knife to cut the cheesecake. This will ensure clean, neat slices. Now, the cheesecake is yummy as is, but if you want to elevate it, you can add various toppings. If you're a fan of the classic, a dollop of whipped cream or a drizzle of strawberry syrup will do the trick. For a tangy twist, try a lemon curd or a raspberry coulis. And if you're feeling a bit indulgent, why not go for a rich chocolate ganache or a sprinkle of crushed cookies? The options are endless, and each one adds a unique touch to your cheesecake. Remember, the key to a perfect cheesecake lies in patience and attention to detail. From the crust to the filling to the cooling and serving, each step is integral to the final result. With that, we have successfully baked a perfect cheesecake. Enjoy your masterpiece.